Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Oddity Shop. I'm Zach. I'm here with the lovely, wonderful Kara, and we're here to tell you creepy, odd, weird, paranormal stories from around the globe.
Oh, yes, we are.
What's up, Kara?
I don't know what today is. We're in the future again. But in the past, I just want to, you're not going to care or even understand this, but I don't want people to come for me and be like, you're an idiot. Because after we recorded it, I was like, people are not going to understand okay. You were talking about tarot cards, and you slightly hit on Aleister Crowley.
Yes.
And I went into a little bit of a tangent of supernatural because Crowley is my favorite character. I want to preface that I understand that Aleister Crowley and the character in Supernatural are not the same person, but he's loosely based on Aleister Crowley. And I knew people would start coming for me because his name is Fergus Crowley, and I didn't want people to be like, "Hey, you're an idiot." Fergus.
I mean, just having the last name Crowley, you know it's based on Aleister.
That's what made me pivot and tange off into my supernatural whatever. And I didn't want people to be like, wow, you don't even know what you're talking about, you idiot.
Oh my God.
So I just had to put that in there.
You're still an idiot to me, but I love you.
Idiot. I bought you something.
Ooh, what'd you buy me?
I'm not going to tell you. You have to just wait. I just want to torture you with it.
At least I'll see you in a week from today.
Yeah.
Well, in our time, a week from today, we'll be in Paracon. By the time you're listening to this, we'll have been home for like a month.
Yeah, and I hope I get it so I can deliver it to you then.
I also have something for you, but you already know what it is. I just have to finally deliver it to you.
Oh, yeah.
I
was going to say you have to find all the stuff that we have to bring.
I
I keep meaning to write a note of everything that I want to bring or we have to bring, but I keep just mental noting it and then forgetting.
We obviously do not see each other enough. We talk to each other enough.
Yeah, we do. I just have one more last little thing, which will be irrelevant again because we're in the future right now. But currently right now, Sam and Colby have not posted for like 4 months or something wild. It's been a while. And, it bums me out because I love them. So Sunday, which today is Thursday, they're going to post. They stayed at the Conjuring House for a week.
What? Ooh, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, but they're not going to drop it until they get 10 million subscribers by Sunday, or they're not going to release it. And they're at 9.96 mil. So can people subscribe, please?
They're going to release it.
No, they've made it very clear it's not being released until they're at 10.
Oh, my God.
So come on, people. Just follow them for me. That's all I have.
All right. Well, I don't really have much either. Do you have a story? Or not a story. I'm sure you have a story. Do you have a question?
I don't have a story this time.
Oh. But do you have a question?
Yes. Okay.
Perfect.
What would you do if you were accused of witchcraft? Let me actually you're not a witch. You didn't do witchcraft. You didn't even do anything that would make sense for you to be accused, but you were accused.
What would you do? Because I feel like
I would learn witchcraft. I would learn witchcraft. And curse them bitches.
I mean, it would be a good way to go out. No, I mean, I feel like the more you defend yourself that you're not a witch, especially in witchcrafty or witch trial-y time, that just made people think you were a witch more. I might go the Monty Python route to see, the whole thing. If you float on water, you must be made out of wood, so therefore you're a witch. So I would just sink in a pool and be like.
So you would be just run all these trials. I'll fail them all so that I'm not a witch.
Yeah. I'll just throw them.
There's really not an answer. I was just I don't know. I think I would probably burn at the stake or something.
I mean, you kind of deserve to. You witch.
Witch, you're a bitch.
Oh my God, what is that from? I know it's
do 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 do.
Oh,
I'm gonna let you come back to it. I'm not even gonna say anything, and I'm gonna let it come to you.
Is it? It's not the Sandy Bullock one, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got your girl Sandy.
Why can't I think of the name of it? I can hear the music. I can see the little Cape Cod house.
Here's the thing. I'm not gonna say
Practical Magic.
Okay. Well, I recently rewatched the incredibly migraine-inducing 1999 movie, The Blair Witch Project. Do you remember her?
I loved this movie.
Okay.
My father hated it because of the migraine-inducing. Anything with a shaky camera, he's like, I'm out. I'm like, but then you just feel like you're there.
So I was off whatever day I was off last. I just really wasn't feeling good. It's been really rainy and stormy here, and it was fucking 8:30 in the morning. This is how we know we're old. It's 8:30 in the morning, and I'm watching the freaking Blair Witch Project.
I love it.
It's freaking free. All right. If you don't know, then I'm just about to spoil all of it for you. You've had 24 years to watch it, so
it's on you.
Okay. Or pause, go watch it, and come back if you need to. I'm going to give you the movie. Okay. So if you haven't seen it, you know what we're talking about. And if you have seen it, it's all going to come rushing back to you. And I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm doing it. I'm doing it for you. Okay. We ready?
Yes. 3
film students, Heather, Josh, and Mike, are producing a documentary in Burkittsville, Maryland, which was formerly Blair, Maryland.
Ooh.
Okay, so like Zach kind of already said, it is all filmed as if they're doing the documentary, so it is all through their camera lens, like as they're recording stuff. So they have like 2 cameras, so it's very shaky.
And for
it's meant
any
to
of
be
you
that way.
younger people out there, these were big handheld cameras that had no stabilizers in them like your iPhone has.
And I also want to say that this is not a real documentary. This is a mockumentary, which I didn't know what that was, but basically it's supposed to simulate like it's a real documentary, but it's not.
It's it falls in the category of the fake found footage.
Right. Okay. 3 students, Maryland. Cool. All right. So the students interview locals about a myth of a Blair Witch who has been known to cause death and murder in this town. They're interviewing these townspeople. Townspeople tell them like of a man named Rustin Parr that lived in the woods, and he abducted 7 kids in the 40s. He killed them off in pairs, having one stand in the corner, like stare into the corner as he like killed the other ones. And it was really creepy until it was like the next one's turn. Okay. So basically it's just like all these people telling the story about they believe it's real and like all this stuff. Okay. So after all the interviews, they set off to hike the forest and check out some of the hot spots that are supposed to be like where all of this took place. So along the way, they run into some fishermen and tell them some more stories about how the forest is cursed and that in 1888, a young child went missing. 3 days later, she returned and talked about a lady whose feet that never touched the ground. So like all these people have all these kinds of different, stories that they've collectively heard over the years.
God, I don't remember like any of the plot of this movie.
I know. When I rewatched it, I was like, damn. Okay. So there's also a rock formation named Coffin Rock that they find along on this hike that they're going for. It's one of their hot spots. And this is apparently where 5 men were found slaughtered sometime in the 19th century, but seemingly done like ritualistically.
Okay.
They've been hiking all day and then they set up camp at night. The next day is supposed to be their hike back. So basically they're just hitting up these couple little like hot spots and then they're just going back. And they're basically, like I said, they're interviewing and they're filming all of this along the way just for this documentary for no real seemingly purpose. I think it was like for school.
Yeah, I think I remember them being like.
They were like college. They were like the
college filmmakers. Yeah.
Well, the one turned 18 on one of the days.
Oh, that's
So they're
right.
like 18, 19, like they're young.
Right.
So, okay. So like I said, the next day they're supposed to hike back. So that night they hear like sticks snapping around the tent, like all over, like crazily. And of course, when they get out of the tent, Zach cannot stop, I would say laughing, yawning.
I'm struggling.
He can't
today.
get it together.
I need caffeine.
Okay. So they hear sticks snapping all around the tent. And it's like not just like normal stick snapping like of animals. Like they're like, what is going on out here? So of course, when they get out and they look, they hear it still, but they don't see anything. So it's really weird and strange and kind of creepy, but what are you going to do?
I don't know, maybe not star in a horror movie.
Right? Somehow they fall asleep. I don't know if I would be able to, but When they wake up, they find 7 cairns around the tent. And cairns are mounds of like rough stones that are built almost like a memorial or a landmark. So like, when you bury your hamster in the backyard, you put little stones on it. I never had a hamster, so I don't know.
Okay, really sad side story.
Oh, no.
I lost one of my geckos, Phil, a couple weeks ago, and it was right after I went to the UP, and I did make him a cairn out of the stones that I stole up there, and it's about 8 feet away from me, and I have a little one for him.
Yeah.
Love you, Phil.
Love you, Phil. Anyway, so they swear that these were not there the night before. Okay, is it Karn or Kern? Because when I listened to it, it said Kern.
I think it's like tomato.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Kern.
Perfect.
So they swear that they weren't there, and this is part of the discussion. They're like, are you sure these weren't there? And they're like, no, we would have seen these. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you didn't. Who cares? Whatever type of deal. But Josh accidentally knocks one of the mounds over. Freaking idiot.
Come on, Josh.
Unfortunately, the hike back doesn't go as planned, and they've reviewed the map lots of times, but somehow they're lost. And this was supposed to be quick hike in, quick hike back, nothing elaborate. This is kind of where the group starts to kind of pick on each other and kind of fight because, you know, she is looking at the map. They don't believe. They're like, do you even know what you're doing? Like, are you sure this is the way? Like all this kind of stuff. Like we shouldn't be lost, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like you could think of any horror movie or any movie like this where it's like,
the plot along.
Yes. So unable to beat Darkfall, they're forced to camp again. They kind of like are yelling because one's supposed to be back to work. They're supposed to return all of this equipment that they borrowed for the documentary. It's just like a whole big fight, but they don't have a choice. It's dark. They don't have a choice.
Got it.
So they make camp again, and the same stick snapping from the previous nights, it's heard again, which they're not in the same spot. They've been hiking all day again. So it's just like really strange that you've got this same crazy stick snapping. When they wake up, there are 3 kerns around the tent. Once they start to get going like that day, how they realize is that the map's gone.
Oh.
Which is like, how do you lose a map? I don't know.
Also, like, if you just walk one direction long enough in these type of woods where they only had to, like, day hike in, they would get out. But
that kind of is in the movie. Like, they kind of get to that. Oh. Like, okay. So this starts a big argument as it doesn't make sense that the map's gone and now they're really fucked. I mean, okay. Like, they're just fucked. So they start going south using a compass because they knew that was the way that the car was. So like you just pointed out, if you just keep kind of going, you're going to figure it out. So they're like, we're just going to keep going south. That was what the map was telling us yesterday. The compass is still showing south. We're cool. As the day progresses, the 3 are getting delirious. They're more frustrated. And then this is when Mike reveals that out of frustration, he kicked the map into the creek the night before, which does not make sense. But this is kind of like building up to like, you know, the witch kind of messing with you. Like you're picking on each other. You're like separating from your group. Now, for whatever reason, you've done something delusional. Like, why would you do that? Even if you're frustrated. Okay. He's like, the map didn't fucking do anything.
God, I need to rewatch this movie.
You do. So then they get into a huge fight. And now they're not talking. And it's like really bad. Like they're just like, they don't have food. They don't have resources. Like they're freaking out.
They're hangry.
They're they kids. They got no map and one of them threw it out. So once they kind of get it together and they realize like, it doesn't fucking matter. We got to get over it. You threw the map out, you're dumb, but we've got to work together. They continue on south. This is when they're met with the creepy stick figure formations that are all around hanging in the trees, like in a circle almost. And I think that you can visualize this because this was like the whole premise of like the advertisement of the movie. The picture of like this like stick figure formation is like on the cover, like with her eyes. Like it's just such a big part of the advertisement. And it's very creepy. I can't say that I wouldn't be put on edge as soon as I saw this. It's just very weird and unsettling is the best way to describe it because they almost are tied in like where it looks like little stick figure people, right?
It
like,
almost has like the same vibe as like the Doll Island. Like it's just creepy.
It shouldn't be there and you know it shouldn't. And it's just weird.
Right.
Once again, they're forced to camp. And now they're just like really feeling just, you know what I mean? Like they're super frightened about finding all of that. Now they've got to camp again. Like this is just, they're way beyond past the point of like the fact that they think they're going to survive. Like they're freaking out. Once again, like I said, they're forced to camp, hearing strange sounds again in the woods, but this time it's accompanied by children laughing and a baby crying.
Nope.
And the tent being physically shaken, like violently shaken.
I'm out of there.
Yeah. So this is when the 3 of them run and they're in the dark woods. Like it's the middle of the night. They are booking it. And all you can see is the freaking camera. Like you can barely see what's going on, but they're still filming. And it's just like they're screaming, they're running. It's like chaotic. And then they sit like wherever they ended up, like they ran for quite a while. They stay there until morning because they don't want to go back and nothing was seemingly chasing them. So they just stay there until morning. When they come back, all of their stuff is like rifled through. So like all their packs are kind of ransacked, but Josh's equipment is all covered in some sort of slime.
Ew.
And his is the only one. And he's like, why me? Like, what is going on?
Because
like,
he keeps
just,
kicking
like, so
shit.
And that's like, he kicked that over. Like,
kicked the map, kicked the kern.
No, Mike threw the map.
Oh, okay.
But Josh kicked the kern. So I think that's... The hike continues on, and the three are making themselves crazy as they pass the same landmark from hours before, which doesn't make sense because, like you said, you're going to walk straight, you're going to eventually get out or whatever. Heather breaks down. She's like freaking out. She doesn't understand how it's the same. Like they basically walked in the longest circle, so they're freaking out. They have to camp again. When they wake up, Josh is gone.
Uh-oh.
Gone. Nowhere. Don't know where he is. His stuff's there, but he's gone. They try to find him. They're freaking out. They can't. And then the two of them are forced to camp again. I would be able to leave. Like they continued on not finding him. I don't know what I would do, but I don't know. It was wild. So they camp again, but this time they hear his screams in the woods. So now they're hearing Josh's screams, which this really gave me, I'm only going to say it once, Skinwalker vibes, because they like mimic your loved ones or whatever. But anyway, so like I said, they can't find him. And now they're thinking though that the witch is luring them out into the woods with his voice. So they're like, I don't even think it's him. So the next morning, Heather finds a bundle of twigs in front of the tent. And it's like this big bundle, and it's wrapped in a piece of fabric, which was Josh's flannel. Like,
oh, he's one of those stick men now.
So all of these bundles are just wrapped up with this, right? And she doesn't say anything to Mike about finding it, but she unties it and opens it. And bundle of sticks has a bundle of his shirt inside of it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So she unties it, the bundle falls apart, and there's a piece of his shirt. When she opens up the piece of his shirt, it's soaked in blood along with teeth and like hair. And it almost looks like a chunk of like scalp attached to the hair. And let me just tell you that the camera focuses on that for way too long.
The only time that entire movie, the camera is still.
I'm not even kidding you, because it's like she's freaking out. So she's just holding the camera like with her hand. Yeah. And so it's like on that shit. But she doesn't tell Mike for some reason. And I think it's just because she's so freaked out. She doesn't want to worry him. But what? Like, I don't know why you would. I don't know.
That's one of those scenes that just sticks in my head.
It does. And then the scene that really gets me is like right after that, she's crying and she's talking into the camera away from Mike so he can't hear. And she's apologizing to Josh and Mike's family. Because it's her idea. It was her documentary. Yeah. Like they were helping her. It's like, I have goosebumps. All right, so they carry on and come across an abandoned house that I guess was supposed to be of that one guy, Rustin Parr, he lived in, the one that killed all those kids. When they get to this house, they hear Josh's cries. So they enter the house. They're searching all over. They're frantic, chaotic. They're just a hot mess. And Mike's running upstairs because he hears the cries. Can't find him. Runs up to the attic because he thinks it's coming from there. Camera pans everywhere. You don't see him. So then he's basically running past Heather down the stairs, like almost like pushing her down because he's like, he's in the basement. He's in the basement. He goes to the basement. Again, like I said, migraine, because this camera is freaking flailing all over because they're not actually recording. They're just holding the camera and running. But anyway, so he hears the screams. So he thinks it's going downstairs. So he runs to the basement. And as Heather's just uncontrollably screaming his name over and over again, like Mike, I don't even know why she's just frantic. It's so chaotic. So once in the basement, something happens and Mike's camera falls to the ground and you just see it in the dirt. And that's all. So you have no idea what happened. Something happens. The camera falls. It's showing the dirt. And then it pans to like Heather's camera because she runs in shortly after and she's like screaming for Mike. Basically the same thing happens, but she first sees him staring in the corner. Ugh. So he's just blank staring in the corner. She's screaming at him. Something like seemingly knocks her over or something happens. And then you just see her camera. Movie's done. So there you have it, The Blair Witch Project.
Okay, I remember being super annoyed when I finished watching that movie because those type of movies that don't explain anything piss me off.
Now,
I feel like they're a cop-out.
They are, but now that we're older, because this was fucking 24 years ago, I think we understand it a little bit more because you're like, okay, this makes sense. You have to start thinking of it as, are they just delirious now because they have no food, right? No water.
Yeah, you can critically think about it instead of me being like 6 years old.
Yeah, but obviously like the bundle of shit in the, like, did that really happen, or was that her delusion? And then that's why she never told Mike. Like, you just start thinking about it that way, or you just go the way that, like, yeah, there's a witch possessing people and making people murder and whatever. But I, for some reason, thought that you saw something in the house.
No, you never do.
And then I remembered you don't, which is why I actually enjoyed this movie, because, you know, I don't like seeing things. I don't like when there's like creepy monsters that
you don't even like
no.
hearing it half the time without saying you hate it 18
right.
times.
Okay. Well, obviously this could have all been made up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually we pull from some sort of truth. So here is the real life inspo behind the Blair Witch.
Ooh.
I need a drink.
Take one.
Of my tea. That was a big slurp of my tea. Sorry, guys. Keep that in there. Ow. And I just hit my fucking tooth. Oh my God. Keep that all in there. Oh, embarrassing.
Yeah, keep your teeth in your mouth. We'd all appreciate it.
They're big. They just hit shit. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Moll Dyer. Moll. Moll Dyer. This is said to be an oral history folktale. This is because there isn't any for sure record of these events. Unfortunately, records of Leonardstown colonial period. Say that for me. Colonial period are often considered incomplete.
Do you feel the most powerful and beautiful with the elements of the earth around you? Do you like one-of-a-kind jewelry? Do you sometimes feel like a woodland fairy? Me too. That's why I created Holly and Hemlock, a magical shop filled with handmade wooden jewelry and metaphysical tools. Come check out our enchanting wooden wares at www.hollyhemlock.com and join us in honoring the magic and beauty of nature with each unique creation. That's www.hollyhemlock.com.
You're trying to say like COLONIAL?
Yeah.
Okay. You started to say colonel at first. I'm like, are you trying to say colonel?
I know, because I said it wrong. No,
okay.
I was
colonial.
I can't.
You had it right.
Thank you. Period. Thank you. Okay, so the colonial period are often considered incomplete here, since they were lost in a fire that destroyed the town's courthouse in 1831. So a lot of the records are gone because of this. But as it's told, Moll Dyer lived in Leonardtown, Maryland in the 17th century. Again, obviously records are hard to find no matter what, or these ones are burned, so whatever we want to go.
They got one.
There are immigration records that do show Mary Dyer, Marge Dyer, and Malligio. I don't know how you would say that. Malligio Dyers.
Sure.
Were transported to a ship to Maryland in October of 1677. So they think that these might be one of who we're talking about, because Moll was actually a nickname for anyone named Mary, or any name that started with an M as a female, you could go by Moll. So Mary Dyer, Marge Dyer, or Malligio Dyers were all, oh my God, transported to Maryland. So we're going to say it was one of them.
I know one of these names.
Oh, you do? I don't. Okay. So anyway, Moll, whichever one you want to go with, was said to live a life of solidarity. She was poor. She often had to beg for food or money, and she would go foraging in the woods just to get by. So these are some of the things that people said about her. Moll lived alone in a small cabin that now would be probably described more as a hut. So I'll say cabin, but visualize it as a hut, because that's what it would most likely be. And she was kind of mysterious, the townspeople would say. They didn't seem to know a lot about her, but she was described as a healer. A little bit mysterious and a healer. She also practiced strange customs. Not really strange to you and I, but you know. And she would concoct herbal medicines. Which this is what always makes me really upset about these stories, because obviously, if she's known as a healer, then she's healed. And if people know she makes medicine, they've probably used her medicine.
Right.
But these are so strange. She's strange.
I just like we still use herbal remedies today all the time. I mean, even most of your pharmaceuticals are derived from some sort of.
But you know what I mean? We always start these types of stories like, she was weird, she was strange, she was mysterious.
She was
like,
just trying to heal people. Damn.
But also it's like, if you wouldn't call her a healer if she didn't heal.
Right.
So what's your problem?
Quit calling her weird when you're using her services.
Right. And then also for someone that was described as not to be known well by the town, they seem to know her well because they feared her. Okay. I'm sure we know where this is going by now.
Mm-hmm.
But Moll was suspected of casting spells, and the townspeople considered her a witch, which, oh God, just makes me mad. Okay. Now, whenever misfortune would happen, it was blamed on Moll. You know, she's just foraging in the woods, just chilling in her little hut. But I don't think she was doing anything crazy.
Why was she being blamed?
Because she was she's weird.
Okay.
Because she was a freaking healer.
You'd think those people would be like almost revered.
Right. Okay. So remember the time that we're in? There was always misfortune, right? There was diseases, plagues, harvests were always dying, like crops, things like that. So there was always something happening in that time that was like super devastating and detrimental, whatever you want to say. And apparently this was all brought on by her. Now, we're of course not going to confront her about this or talk to her.
No, just behind her back.
Why would we do that? Yeah, nope, we're not going to do that. Her wrath might be worse. You know, if we ask her, it could get worse. So we'll just accuse her and move along.
Perfect.
And that's exactly what they did. Everything was her fault. The Maryland witch trials went from June 1654 to October 1712. And at least 8 were accused of being witches, but not all were found guilty, which I thought was kind of...
Oh.
I thought that was kind of cool, only because that's not usually the way that you hear it.
No.
Moll, however, didn't get a fair trial because she didn't get one at all.
Oh.
So the winter of 1697 and 1698 was an exceptionally bad one. This, mixed with a plague that's now thought to have been influenza, had the community fearful that they wouldn't make it till spring. So again, this time frame is just, there's not, I don't have to explain it, but you have to just figure you're living in huts. You're not really that secluded away from
there's not great healthcare, not sanitation.
And if you figure like this is like a devastating winter storm, like your crops aren't going to survive. So it is a nightmare, and it's really sad to think about. No matter what, it's really sad for these people. The town of Maryland was deeply, deeply religious at this point. I don't know if they still are, but I'm just saying like it was brought up multiple times.
The town of Maryland?
I did write that. Yeah, the town.
I mean, it is a small state, so.
I meant to write the townspeople. Either way, whatever. So this just added to the fear of witchcraft, though. So that is nothing that they like believed in. They feared it. So on what was said to be the coldest night of this terrible winter in February, a mob formed. Sick of their misfortune and over the witchcraft and the spell casting of Moll, the mob headed to her cabin. I'm sure you know what happens next.
I'm going to guess it involves flames.
They set her home ablaze. Ugh. And I will never understand this. I just don't. I mean, there's not really much we can say except for I will never get it. Somehow Moll miraculously escaped the burning cabin and managed to dodge the mob, which, like I previously said, it was more of a hut. Yeah, so it was more of a hut. So I do find that really amazing that she was able to escape undetected and get out because it was so small. I have to imagine.
Was it like dark out? She could have just kicked the back out. And
it was in the middle of the night. So I'm assuming that's kind of what happened. However, like I stated, this was the coldest night in February. Definitely not conditions to be running into the night trying to survive a mob attack.
Oh.
And she had to flee to the woods. Days after the horrific attack, a boy was in the woods searching for his lost cattle, and he stumbled upon Moll's frozen body. Her body was partly frozen to a boulder or like a rock, depending on which way you describe it, where basically her one knee and one hand was frozen to the rock, and her other hand was said to kind of be stretched out as if, like stretched to the sky, as if to curse all that prosecuted her.
Ooh. I mean, honestly, if you were, kind of like you said earlier, if you're being accused of being a witch, the last thing I would do too is probably try to hex people.
I was going to say, if you believe that she was a witch, that's the part that people say, like her hand up in the air was to curse everybody that fucked with her, which, yeah, I would too. this is another thing that really bugs me about the whole witchcraft things and the trials and stuff like that. It's like, if you just left her alone and didn't accuse her, then the town's of the town's trouble, there wouldn't be a curse now, right? Maybe she could have helped. Maybe she wasn't causing the town's trouble. Like, why would she be doing that? It doesn't make sense.
She could have healed some future shit that they blamed on the curse.
Right. But like, why is she like killing everybody and like making the crops die? She needs to eat too. It doesn't make sense.
No.
And now we've just killed her, essentially. Yeah, she's going to curse your asses. Makes no sense.
I mean, if we just look at human history as a whole, it's a long, long story of people just not taking accountability and putting the blame on someone else.
Well, we still do that nowadays.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to say it's almost like human nature, but...
Kind of.
It kind of is, but it's just ignorance, okay? So the Moll Dyer rock is now considered a cursed object.
It's not the same Mary Dyer from Boston, right?
Because she's Moll Dyer. They don't even really know if it was Mary. Those were just the records that they had.
That's why that name sounds familiar to me. I finally remember it was an episode of Drunk History where like somebody named Mary Dyer was hanged, but I can't remember what for. That's why that one stuck out.
Probably witchcraft.
Probably.
But surprisingly enough, the rock wasn't actually found until 1968 when writer Philip H. Love read about this and the Moll Dyer legend. And so he journeyed to find it, and he was able to find it in a ravine. I don't know what made him know that this was the rock.
That was going to be my next question.
I don't know. I think it was just because he went off of what all these legends, like where they said it would be type of deal. And I don't know. The legend says that you can still see her knee and handprint in the rock. When I looked at pictures, I don't know if I can really tell that. I mean, it's just like rocks have imprints, so you could probably pretend.
And I feel like she would have had to be there for a lot longer. I mean, unless she was a witch.
That's true, and it is supposedly cursed, so she could have cursed it with her little handprints. But again, I really have no idea how he knew this was this rock. He could have picked any like boulder-esque rock because it's huge. It's more of like a boulder.
Right.
It took like lots of people to move it. But like, I don't.
Why? The only thing I can hear in my head right now is SpongeBob. It's not just a boulder. It's a rock.
But yeah, I have no idea. In the 70s, the rock was displayed in front of the Leonardtown Square in the old jail museum. It was literally just put in front and had a little plaque.
Jail museum?
I don't know.
Okay. I
was wondering that too, but it just had a little plaque.
Perfect.
Okay. In the 70s, I just said that. In 2021, it was moved to Tudor Hall in the St. Mary's County Historical Society, which that makes more sense. And it's now displayed there. So if you go visit Maryland and find yourself in front of the rock that Moll froze to death on, don't touch it, for you might come down with an illness or result in some sort of injury. So apparently people get sick when they touch this rock, or they hurt themselves after, or technology just stops working around this rock.
So why do they keep moving the damn rock?
Well, now it's like in a case in the this society. So you can go look at it, but they just say like, with caution, don't touch it, which I kind of find funny that it was just chilling in front of the jail. Like you could just like literally walk by and be like, meh.
Sit down, eat your lunch on the rock.
Yeah, you could sit on it. Like this little plaque was like a little tiny wood sign on it. Like it's not like it made it look anything. Like if you didn't know.
That's how you get a butt curse. You sat on the rock to eat your lunch.
Ooh, you'd probably get
hemorrhoids.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. I was going to say a butt rash, but that's not what it was. But you could probably get that too.
Diaper rash.
But if you do find yourself in Maryland, make sure it's in February, the 26th to be exact. Why, you might ask?
Why? I might ask.
I wrote ask. It's Moll Dyer Day.
Ooh, she has a whole day.
So you and the fam can join the opening ceremony to honor her fading handprint, enter the scavenger hunt, have a paranormal investigation and a ghost walk, and other special activities put on by the town of Leonardtown and local businesses.
The scavenger hunt seems to me, that's bad taste.
Insensitive?
Right? Like she got literally hunted by a mob. Yeah. That's how you get cursed.
And if you're curious, the opening theme of Moll Dyer Day is be kind.
Good.
So I guess the town maybe. Did you just hear that? I think I just got cursed.
What happened? Stuff flying off your shelves? Stop poking fun at Mary Dyer or Moll Dyer.
I'm not. It was under, the papers were under this.
Weird.
I'm sweating right now. No one can see this, but it's like a glass coaster. And my papers were sitting under it. And they just, I'm sure you can hear it in that recording. Keep that in.
We will.
I'm sweating. Oh my God. Moll.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to let people know.
What's that growing on your face? It's like a big old boil.
Stop. I'm sweating profusely. Oh my God. Keep all of that in. We're haunted. Okay. Anyway, like I was just saying, I guess at least the town is now trying to, I don't know which way you can look at it. I'm going to say, like, are you just trying to erase the fact that your town killed this poor woman and ran her out for no fucking reason? Or
looking for tourist money?
Yeah, I'm very flustered right now. But we're not leaving until we get a haunting. And if anyone deserves to haunt, it's Moll. So for years after the death of Moll, families that lived in the area said that the fields planted with crops were uncharacteristically bare, thought to be cursed. So they just wouldn't grow nothing, no matter what they could do.
I'm very proud of you for getting uncharacteristically out in 1.5 tries.
Really her spirit is now said to wander along where the tragedy occurred, searching for those that betrayed her. And this is really sad. On the coldest nights in winter, you can always see Moll restlessly and aimlessly, like, lurking. Aww. Which is so sad because she did that, and I'm sure until she found that rock and died on it.
That is really, really, truly sad.
I know. And that is the real, or muse, if you will, of the Blair Witch Project, which they amped that up crazily compared to the true story.
Right.
There are very, very, almost no similarities.
No.
At all.
No, almost none.
I was very surprised that this was apparently where they got their idea, but it's kind of like the legend of the Hookman, whichever episode that was. Like, it just gets
so changed.
It does, but obviously this is meant to be, you know what I mean? Like, this would be a kind of a boring movie. Sorry, Moll, like, but this would be just a horrifying movie, where this one is like, you got to have some sort of suspense and you got to add things to it. But I just feel like I don't see any similarities.
No, it's very loosely based, but still interesting
very,
to hear,
very,
like, where
it came from.
Yeah. I always just assumed it was like a totally made up story. Well, I mean, it's still, the movie still is. The plot is.
It is. But yes, either way, the movie is like.
We need to go to,
you need to rewatch
the town of Maryland, or, you know, like Salem, Boston, all those kind of areas. We should go out there. We should do a Halloween out there. We do need to. With midnight margaritas.
From what movie?
Practical Magic. Took me so long to put it together.
Actually, you got it quicker than I thought you were going to. I thought it was going to be way later in this episode.
I kept wanting to say Cruel Intentions for some reason, and I know that's not the movie, but it's like...
That's a good
Practical
movie,
Magic,
though.
Cruel Intention, like, same thing in my head, but I just knew it wasn't right.
Was that Rapture?
Nope, that was my toe.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what's happening now? I'm scared.
I stubbed my toe really hard.
I did randomly put this side note in my notes. I think I meant to fit it somewhere, but it didn't really fit. But they called her an old hag, but she was said to only be 35.
Well, in that time.
So let's do better. Bro.
People didn't live that long. 30s was old.
An old hag?
Yeah, you're basically there, you old hag.
I was waiting for that.
You know, it's like the old hag, like the sleep paralysis. I just wake up to you, like, crouching at the end of my bed.
I would fuck with you so hard.
Oh my God.
You better, next week we're sharing the same hotel room, so you better don't fuck with me.
Listen, this is probably going to be the first time we're having a sleepover where, even though we're sharing a hotel room, I get my own bed where you don't sleep in mine.
Well, I don't want to sleep on the couch all the way downstairs by myself.
Drooling on my pillows.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
Whatever. You stained my pillowcase pink.
I did, and I felt really bad about that. That was during the pink hair phase.
But this is also why I have white sheets, and then I bleach them for you.
Perfect.
See, I think for you. I look out.
I bought a bed set that had white sheets once, and I immediately threw them out because I don't trust myself with that.
Oh, see, my actual bed sheets too are white because I like to bleach them and just get all the nasty.
All right.
Okay, well, I don't know how did we even get here?
Yeah, let's let him go.
Moll Dyer, please don't kill me. I was trying to tell your story and I wasn't talking bad about you.
But Moll Dyer, you could leave us a review or share our podcast with a friend if you wanted to.
Please. I'm like really nervous. I don't know what's happening. I'm sweating. So thank you for listening. I hope you appreciated this. Please rewatch or watch the Blair Witch Project and tell me how you felt about it if you haven't watched it. I'd love for younger people to watch it.
If you have any haunted in the woods stories or creepy woods
camping,
stories,
creepy camping, that'd be cool. Yeah, do all of that. And I've got to go because I'm sweating and I'm nervous. And thanks for listening. Most importantly, creep it real, y'all balls.
Goodbye.
Bye.